Welcome back, guys. This is episode 7 now of my City Skylines Let's Play. This is Snow here. It's become pretty obvious that my garbage from last episode is not quite doing the job. I may need to modify Garbage Lane, but I think the big problem with this is that they're just... I don't have the traffic infrastructure up yet to warrant this kind of a system. Like, this road is just full of garbage trucks, and it takes them so long to travel out, and at the same time, I'm emptying all 3 of these at the same time. It's just too spread out right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a sort of a garbage lane number 2. Right here, and this is going to be really small. And let's see if... And the reason I haven't done this already is because... Let's take a look really quick at the pollution infograph. This shows all of the pollution in our city with these little red outlines. And if you can see, I told you this water drains are going to cause a lot of problems, and we can see that already happening. But look how much pollution these incinerators cause. And especially this industry causes a ton of pollution with this comical Paradox Plaza that's super unpolluted in the middle of it. But then these landfills, same thing, tons of pollution. And if you can imagine putting a building there, I mean, our people are going to get so sick so quickly if I do that. So that's not something I want to have happen to us. And so I'm hoping if I put in an incinerator up here, that'll be far enough until I can fix things. And it's really a shame because I did want to expand my residential all the way up here. So I might actually try and get this as far away as possible with it still being accomplishing what I want it to. And I don't know how I'm going to get there, guys. I'm going to have to play around with this a whole lot. So what I'm going to do, actually, is something I haven't done yet. It's this move tool. I can just click on a building and relocate it, rather than purchasing new ones, which was a problem. I mean, I already had to turn down my garbage spending a whole bunch. So I'm actually going to put it, like, right up here. And then run out some water and electricity. Just for this building. Let's see, electricity, and I'll just run a simple power line out here, right there. Okay, so now that should help the situation. And then I'm going to take another one of these and relocate it, and go kind of like right here with it. And hopefully by spreading these out just a bit, it's going to help with the garbage situation. In fact, I am making some more money, so I'm actually going to go into my budget and increase my spending up a bit more on garbage, just because this is becoming such a big problem for my city. That's just what's going to have to happen. And it is a little strange, because, I mean, this is exactly what I've done in all of my other cities, is just have one satellite garbage area. But, so I think the main problem is the spending that I was doing, for my garbage. So, hopefully that's gonna get taken care of here. In fact, I do have the money and they are still complaining. I'm actually gonna raise the budget a little bit more. Up to like 85% here. And then what I'm gonna do is, on these guys here, I'm actually gonna stop emptying them for now. Even though I do want them emptied for my long-term plans, I do have this immediate garbage crisis that I need to take care of. I'm getting people moving out, and that's not what I want at all. So while that's happening here, I'm actually going to start zoning in some more of this high density. So let's move on to that, and let's just keep expanding out as we've been doing. I want to make sure I'm keeping on this with this demand, and hopefully getting that rezoned is going to help as well. Well, I mean, it's obviously not going to help the garbage any at all, but it should help us grow and expand. And then same thing with the commercial. I'm going to keep getting rid of this residential here and make this more of a dedicated commercial zone. Now, something I have noticed is that on these single spaces, they don't actually like to be high density residential. And so that's one of my first little tips here is like, even in your residential area, if you ever just get like single squares, I've noticed that low density commercial grows really well on single squares, and those businesses tend to do really, really well on right there. So anywhere where I've got these single squares, I'm actually going to make those just low density commercial. And you'll see that all throughout, even in my main residential areas. If I ever get like a single square, and once I start laying in like a highway through here, I'm going to start getting a lot more funky road patterns and stuff that aren't going to lend themselves to the grid quite as well. And those are going to be really good spots for just a single low density commercial building. If you see, that's where we get like these gas stations and little corner cafes. And those actually tend to do really well from what I've seen. So we'll keep an eye on those, see how they do. In the meanwhile, let's try and get more of the coast here over to high density commercial, while I'm replacing all of the residential here. There we go. Get some more of this in, and all of this. All right, and same with this high density residential. Looking at our population, it does look like it's starting to raise back up. It looks like our garbage has been, the immediate crisis has been fixed. So we'll keep an eye on that definitely, because I do not want these garbage, these landfills polluting these areas. I need to figure out a better, more permanent solution for this. And so that's just definitely something, as I expand, as I grow, I need to be watching that and really take that into consideration as my city expands. I'm just gonna throw in some more high density residential. I wish there was a more natural way to upgrade this kind of stuff. I mean, really, I should have just made it, decided that this was a suburban area in the first place instead of what I'm doing now, but that's okay. So right here is an example of a 1 square building. So instead of this little house making it a tower, I'm actually just going to make this a low density commercial. And so that's going to make a cool little, like, either a convenience store or a gas station, which is kind of what you'd expect to see in this kind of residential area anyways, you know? They do want their little corner stores and their little gas stations to help them out, you know? It's not all about residential. So now they got their little gas station that'll help them out as they're on their way home or their way to work. They can just stop at the gas station, fill up. Well, I mean, it's poorly located if they're going to work or whatever, but I mean, it's right by their home, so that's pretty nice. And I mean, even these guys right here, I could make all these like little 1 square low density commercial guys, because what you'll see down the road is a lot of these higher density commercial buildings or residential buildings, if they're put on 1 square, down the road, once we start getting a lot higher population, they're going to start complaining about land value. And that single square just doesn't have a very high land value. And so down the road, that's going to be something that they'll start to get really upset about if they're on that low value single square tile. But the low density commercial doesn't really care about the land value quite as much from what I've seen. So that's a little tip if you're running into that problem. I'll just keep rezoning all this then. Still got plenty of demand. I'm starting to lose citizens again, but I think that's just because of how much I'm dezoning their residential areas. That obviously, as I was saying in the last episode, when I'm kicking people out of their houses and rebuilding them like this, that does cause an immediate loss of citizens. Of population. Unfortunately, I can't get people in the game really to move. Every time I delete one of their houses, it forces them out of the city completely. It does not doesn't give them the opportunity to move. So this guy right here, this is actually a low density, I thought. Yeah, this leveled up quickly. It's already level 2. So this low density commercial building is complaining not enough educated workers. So that's still a problem that I'm having in my city. So let's take a look at that really quick. Education, elementary is good. High school is getting there. But you know what the problem is because I'm redoing all of this residential area into high density, as I was talking about in the last episode, I'm literally kicking the citizens out of the city and getting new citizens in that don't have an education yet. So it will take a little bit of time before those guys can get educated back into being productive members of society. So that's the issue there, is I just don't have the education in place yet because I'm redoing my zones like this. And the way to avoid that is by not doing this process at all and just making any high density areas like a new downtown area that you create as you grow your city. That's just not something I wanted to do in this playthrough. Alright. It is a bit tedious here just redoing all this stuff, so I apologize if it is a little boring, but hopefully I'm offering some good tips while I'm doing it. And we are slowly but surely growing. We're up to 10,300, so we do have the negative bits as I am actually dezoning everything, but then it shoots way back up once these buildings start growing in. And they're leveling quickly because we do have still the established infrastructure of all of our basic services in place, so they are leveling up pretty quickly. There we are. And I'm gonna finish this coast here just so I can get a nice skyline. Because that's what the game's called, isn't it, right? City skylines? We gotta work on that skyline. There we go, that's good enough. And I'm actually, for the commercial, I'm just gonna start zoning in this all here. I'm actually gonna zone like that corner here. There we go, and make that an actual square there. Now I'm gonna start watching my demand a little bit closer because it looks like the residential's starting to drop. We do have some demand for industry. So, since I am putting in all of this high density commercial, they're gonna start wanting to sell goods a lot. And there's two ways that they can get goods. They can either get it from outside the city through the highway, and they'll deliver them straight to the buildings then. Or I can actually produce my own goods. So what we can do actually, let's slow this down just for a minute. So let's click on this little donut truck, right? So what this donut van says is it's owned by Frank's Fish Stick Factory. That's this building right here. And it's actually delivering goods to Busy Corner Shop. That's this building here. So the industry that I'm producing over in my industrial zone is actually getting delivered to my own buildings. That is pretty cool. So with that in mind, it's really important to keep in mind that this industrial area that you're creating for your city, in addition to creating jobs for your citizens, is also producing goods for your commercial district. We'll speed this back up. Now that's not necessarily the case for these specialized zones over here, and I've got a ton of buildings I need to mow down over here. Look at all of this. There we go, that'll all pop back up here. Do I have a fire station over here? Oh, I don't. You know, because the oil does run a really high risk of fire, I'm just gonna put in a fire station specifically for this area here. And I think that's gonna help them a whole lot. Let's throw it in like right there. Yeah, that's good. And I think that's gonna help keep down the fires a bit, because the oil does run a really high risk. Whoa! Small city, we're 11,000 already. We're moving up. So that gives us level 6 unique buildings. I think that's the highest level. Trains. Oh my god, I hate trains. I am terrible at laying train tracks, but we're going to tackle it in this episode. Trains are awesome. They give you a new way of moving people and goods throughout your city. So if you're having traffic problems, you can start looking at trains to help alleviate that. If you're having problems with your industry not being able to sell its goods to the commercial district, you can actually put cargo trains in that'll help move the goods. If you're having people having problems getting to and from work or different areas of your city, you can put in passenger trains. This also ties into tourism. You can use passenger trains to get tourists into and out of your city. And that is so much fun, trying to lay all the train tracks and make all that work out for you. That's definitely something we're going to look at. We got some more new policies. Two of these are really useful. I'm going to show you those in a moment. These, it's the small business enthusiast and the big business benefactor. You're going to really like those. I'll go into more detail with that in a moment. The industrial space planning, I haven't really played around with that, but what that'll do is that'll actually double the amount of goods that our industry's building. So if you've got like a really small industrial zone, but you want it to be doing a lot more work, then you can enact this policy there, and they'll be able to produce more goods to funnel into your commercial district as well as your exports. And then high-tech housing, this will just exactly what it says. It'll just raise the land value of all your residential zones, which is pretty cool. You can use that to just artificially create really wealthy neighborhoods and things like that. And it's actually a pretty nice policy. I enacted it a couple of times, and we might look at that here too. And then the high-rise ban. This, from what I can tell, is mostly used if you're trying to do like a cosmetic kind of cityscape. I'm not really sure why you would necessarily do it in a normal kind of a game, unless you just want it to look a certain aesthetic way. What this basically does is it prevents all of your buildings from getting to their highest level. So most buildings can either go to level 3 or level 5. So it'll prevent that, so it'll be either level 2 or level 4. Which, I mean, if you don't have any education, that could be a good way to cut back on that. And what it also does is it prohibits tall buildings, which really lets you control the aesthetics of an area. If you want like a flatter suburban sprawl area, that can be really useful. Or, for example, I live in kind of the Phoenix metropolitan area. And if you've ever been out to Phoenix, we have a lot of really flat buildings. So obviously not if you get in the center of Phoenix, then there's a lot of sky rises, but most of the metropolitan area is pretty flat. There's not a lot of really tall buildings. It's more about spreading out and taking advantage of all the land. So if you wanted to do something like that, if you wanted to recreate some cities in, around Phoenix, then that would be a really good policy to enact to kind of get that feel. As for new buildings, we got the train station and the cargo train station. They'll go with the trains, obviously. I talked about those already. And then the hydro power plant. This thing is a beast if you can get a really good spot for it. But it's kind of difficult to place, and I don't know, maybe we'll look at placing one in this town, but it's really hard to find a good spot where it's going to be useful. But once you do find a spot, they can produce tons of power. All right. Let's just carry on, keep deleting these buildings here. Alright. Then we do need to zone in some more industry. So let's work in this generic industry a bit more. Let's put in a new... Somebody mentioned I need more curves. So I'm gonna make some nice little curve features. How about that? Oh, turn off the snap. Do a little curve in here. And then zone all of this in industry. And then what I could do as well to meet this industry demand is start putting in some offices. That might be a nice idea. Should I put in some offices? I don't really have a good spot to put them in yet. Let's put in some offices just so we can see kind of what they're like. And I think I'm gonna put in some offices. Let's run a road out here. And then we'll run this road up here. And I've really got to think about upgrading some of these roads here soon. I'm really playing the edge, not upgrading any of this. We'll run some roads out there. Let's connect this one like that, and then this one here. And some more here. And some more curves going on like that. And then let's run this straight down. Oh, that's gonna create a huge intersection. That's good enough for now. I can always just play with it later. Alright. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna create some offices. And I'm just gonna start my offices right here. Because this is all gonna get upgraded to high density residential anyway, so I don't really need to expand out anymore on residential. So I'm gonna put some offices here. I'm actually gonna just fill in all of this with offices just because I've got a plan. And I'm even gonna come up here. And we'll call that good for now. People are complaining about water. Okay, that's going away. Let's take a look at the water really quick. Oh, yeah, we're getting close, guys. I might need to bang in a couple more water pumps and stuff. So let's do that really quick. Where did I put my pumps? Are they down up here? No. I mean, they could be up here. There they are. So let's put in another pump. And hook it up. Come on. There we go. And then another drain. Right there. Are you connected? You should be connected. There we go. Is it gonna turn on? Let's speed this back up. There we go. Awesome, so that's good for water. How's the electricity? Electricity's okay for now. Garbage. It's always a good idea to just kind of run through these all really quick. So it looks like our garbage system is starting to actually work. Education. I do need to look at education again here pretty quickly. But that's good enough for now. Happiness. Look, our happiness is raising now. That's good. And health. Healthcare, death care. I do need to look at death care here again pretty quickly. You know what? I'm gonna hope I can hold off until I get this crematorium. Kind of like the incineration plant, the crematorium is a really powerful building that's really gonna help us out once we can get it. And it looks like our two little cemeteries there are holding off for now. So hopefully that stays the case. Alright, levels, I'm not gonna worry about that just yet. Traffic. We are starting to get our first little bits of traffic, but not quite yet. Why are we still complaining about water? I just fixed that. Oh, you guys don't have pipes! See, it's like I've been saying, guys, I always forget the pipes. Let's get this. I don't know why I'm being so fussy about this. Let's just run some of this pipe down. And there we go. Cool. Oh, you need water. Oh, okay. I just don't happen to have water right there. There we go. Cool. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this episode, guys. Look how quickly we are growing, though. And we do still have demand. We didn't have a whole lot of growth this episode, but that's mostly because we're working on filling in this skyline. And look at how it's coming along. We are starting to get some genuine skyscrapers here. So next episode, I'm going to show you what these offices that I just put in, what that's going to mean for our city, and now what we can do with this rest of this area now that we've laid these offices in. You're going to really like that this tip and this trick that I'm going to show you here for keeping your commercial and your residential areas separated for their noise. We may also start to look at upgrading some of these major roads to help nip some of these traffic problems in the butt before they become an issue. and we might actually look at purchasing a new tile so that we can get access to our train route. This is going to be a really exciting episode, guys. I hope you tune in.